fuck's sake. Is this thing even fucking recording? Fucks. This is what I get for buying a new phone. It doesn't have a fucking headphone jack. That's the future we asked for, wasn't it? Taking away features from us. Fucking piece of shit. Sorry for that rather aggressive intro. I'm back making shit podcasts because I should be. Technically, I'm supposed to be a journalist. I know you wouldn't believe it, but I am. Sorry, I'm just a little bit testy because I've just come down from my daily classified search for a used car, and my God, that's a depressing thing to be putting yourself through on a daily basis. Because like all good car enthusiasts, shock horror, I would love to own a car, and I currently don't. Mainly because I don't really need a car. I have access to a van with my work, which covers my commute. And I live in suburban Dublin, so I can pretty much get anywhere via public transport, walking, cycling. Also driving is far better than all of those things. But I don't need a car, but I love cars like you do, if you're listening to this, probably. And I just want one as a toy, something to play with, something to enjoy, the tactility of steering and braking and accelerating, and just take me places I may or can't go by other means. Anyway, the used car market is just painfully depressing. I know there's reasons for it. Chip stuff shortages causing new cars to be delayed, which means people are buying more used cars, so demand is higher, therefore the prices are higher. Is that a Scirocco or? One moment. I know obviously in an audio podcast, because there isn't really any other form, you can't see what I'm... No, it's a diesel. Diesel Scirocco. You can't see what I'm looking at as I'm walking around. But if I do see anything interesting, I'll post it on my Instagram account, car_nosaur. So that's CAR _NOSAUR. When I set it up initially, it's something to do with bipedal animals or something. Because I was forced into it because my old Instagram account, Reincarnation, which I thought was a great name, even though a lot of people thought it was Reincarnation, got hacked. Someone in Lagos logged into it with an iPhone. I don't own an iPhone, and I also don't live in Lagos. Off topic. Anyway, anything I do see, I'll post on my Instagram account, and I'll reference it. Pod pics. That's a nice little term, isn't it? Pod pics. So if you don't listen to the podcast, you'll be like, what the fuck is this shit all about? But if you do, you'll understand. Anyway, I'm rambling again. I'm getting off topic. What was I talking about? Yes, the used car market. The prices are insane. I have some money, not a lot of money. I have about $5,000, put it that way, that I could potentially spend on a motor vehicle, which should be enough to buy something relatively interesting, be it a mild amount of performance or just something quirky. But no, $5,000 now is about enough to buy you a 12-year-old Fiat Panda, which in itself is an interesting car. It's a nice little quirky town runabout, is that how you would put it? Turn up somewhere to turn up, not the vegetable turn right, because I knew there was an interesting car somewhere I wanted to look at. But $5,000 for a Fiat Panda is outrageous, because that's a car you could have spent, I don't know, 1,500 quid on, even just a year ago. So that's the kind of shit you're dealing with. And when you do wander through the classifieds, and you do see something interesting, you're like, oh, look at that. I can't think of an interesting car off the top of my head. I don't know. It's a Citroen Saxo VTS, but it's on fucking UK plates. And I'm trying to register a UK vehicle now because of Brexit. It's about as financially sensible as investing in Bitcoin. That's my little rant, and that's why I'm out recording, because I felt I needed to let that out and kind of calm down a bit, so I'm out getting some fresh air. Here's the interesting car I was looking for. I'll take a picture of it. It's either a, now I'm not up to date with my Toyota Starlets, but it's I want to say it's a second or third generation Toyota Starlet. It's been sitting in this driveway for, well, it's been consumed by the greenery that surrounds it, and it's very, very rusty. The registration plate is where it should be, but all the metal around it has disintegrated and disappeared. It's a shame, because that would have been, it's an original Irish car. I think it was yellow in its day. But yeah, it's now just returned to the earth, which is sad, because if someone had spotted it a few years ago, it could have been saved. But there's another interesting car on this very same street. Gavin said, if you're listening to this, you do want to see what I'm looking at. I'll post these on Instagram. There's this. It's a yellow 20 valve turbo Fiat Coupe, which again has been sitting here for several years and is showing signs of decay. Has one of those, ubiquitous we buy cars for cash, because even the undesirable people have noticed it's been sitting here for a long time. It does have a strange, I'll take a picture of the front of it as well, I just took a picture of the back of it, kind of like pseudo Ferrari 360 front bumper on it. But that could be easily rectified. The rest of it appears to be standard. But yeah, that's a sad sight. Really, it's a shame. I don't care about mundane pieces of crap sitting on driveways and disintegrating, but when they're interesting cars like that, it does break your heart, doesn't it? Yes, anyway, that's all that depressing talk about the used car market and interesting cars that people have allowed to be consumed by the earth. Let's talk about some interesting, more positive stuff that's going on in the motoring world. I did write some stuff down to talk with you. Some new cars that have come along in recent times. The EV Abarth 500 has just been announced to the world. And few journalists have now walk around with it. Johnny Smith, he of the Late Break Show, and Smith and Sniff, which I'm sure you're all aware of, did a video on it. Good looking car. It's, I'll assume, there's an Abarth 500 driving by right now. The petrol one. Lovely car. To go back to my classified search, they made a lot of them and they sold a lot of them and they were on sale for a long time. I mean, you could still buy the combustion powered ones. So technically, that's a car. A used one should be attainable. But the prices of them have never dropped below the 10 grand mark, really, that I've seen. There aren't as many here as there are in the UK. And as I've also just said, there's no point in bringing a car in from the UK. Anyway, I'm not going to go back into that. We've covered. I'm just going to make myself angry again. The EV Abarth 500. So the silhouette, the face, is obviously very familiar to the combustion powered car. It looks more like the regular 500 EV. I hope this doesn't get too confusing. So it has a slightly, as you would put it, and as Johnny put it as well, it has like a kind of a bad boy bonnet, where the bonnet line kind of cuts through the top of the headlights and has less of a grille than the combustion car, because it doesn't need one, etc., etc. Number one, it's slower than the current combustion powered Abarth 500, which is odd because the party trick of electric vehicles seems to be not 60 times. So that's a strange starting point. And also the claimed range that they have is 150 miles or something like that, which isn't great. But then, now, this stuff can be switched off, but the whole fake noise thing. So they have a thing, can be turned off, yes, but it makes engine noises, and it will make engine noises as you accelerate and decelerate, and even as you turn off the EV, it'll go. and it's quite loud because it's being pumped out. You can hear it inside the car, in the cabin, obviously through the speakers, which is not something that's unfamiliar to combustion powered cars as well these days, and is equally as depressing. But it's also pumped on the outside, literally through a speaker underneath the car. I don't know. We don't need to make electric cars sound like combustion powered cars. I just think it's silly. I understand they need like some form of noise on the outside, so they don't just sneak up on you and kill you if you happen to be crossing the road. But Matt Pryor of Autocar actually got a prototype drive of the EV version of the new Maserati Gran Turismo, and that makes kind of like an engine noise. It's not, but it isn't. It's just kind of it's an interesting kind of mechanical noise. It's not too loud. Again, you can turn it off, I think. It's not too much, and it's not anywhere near as sonorous as the beautiful V8 that Maserati have been using for years in the Gran Turismo, and as they still do. I know it's a V6 now, isn't it? Either way, I don't know. It's a topic for an entire episode of a podcast. But there's no need for them to sound like combustion cars. There's got to be some sort of, like, I wouldn't go as far as BMW have gone with the i4 or whatever the hell their EV model is. I can't keep up these days. But they got Hans Zimmer in to compose noises, and none of them sound good. I don't know what the solution is. I don't know. We should all just walk off into the sunset, and as Matthew McConaughey put it in True Detective, we should all just walk hand in hand into our own extinction, which we're probably doing anyway, unconsciously. Because we're going to save the world with electric vehicles. Don't know about that. They're not exactly as clean as everyone wants to think they are. Not everyone, just people the sheeple. I'm getting off topic again. Anyway, the EVR bat. The other noise it makes, if you go above 20 kilometers an hour, it'll play a rock jingle. I shit you not. It goes. Again, apparently a safety feature, so you don't run over children. Nonsense. Again, apparently not be turned off, so I won't get myself too hot and bothered about it. What else was I going to talk about in the motoring world? Where did I put my notes? Did I lose them already? Here we go. Other new cars. An actual car a new car, there aren't many of them that I would actually buy. The Toyota GR86. Toyota really are on a roll in recent years. Obviously the Yaris GR Yaris, the way around it's said, has been a runaway success. Cool car. Technically a homologation special, but then COVID came along and they never actually raced the rally version of the GR Yaris road car. And now the regulations have changed and they're hybrids and etc. You know what I'm talking about. But the GR86, which obviously is a replacement to the GT86, a car which I've also liked as well, but I've only driven one very briefly. People complain it didn't have enough power and torque, maybe. But it was a fun, front-engined, rear-wheel drive, manual, coupe sports car. And there's just not enough of them in the world anymore. And thankfully, Toyota decided, let's keep that lineage going by bringing out the GR86. The only problem being, they're only allocating like 400 right-hand drive ones to the UK and Ireland, and they're all sold. I haven't seen any being flipped yet, which is strange. But I'm sure they will in time. Maybe they will. Which it really is a shame, because obviously, as I said, I like the GT86, but the GR86 has kind of resolved some of the things that people criticize about. It's a better looking car. which I know is subjective, but I think we can all agree it's better looking than the GT86, which wasn't exactly a stunning looking car. But it's also got a slightly larger engine, 2.3, 2.5, four-cylinder boxer engine. So it has more power and more mid-range torque. So apparently it's even more front drive than the original one. Although apparently it's on the GT86 came on Michelin Primacies, I think it was, the Eco tires that they used on the Aventus. So it was low grip, so it was very easy to provoke it into slide. Where I think the GR86 they ditched that idea, and I think it actually comes on Michelin Pilot Sports, which are obviously a lot more sticky, and even with the extra power, and it's a little less playful than the outgoing model. But from everything else I've heard and watched and read, it's still a very, very fun car, to the point where it came second Evo car of the year this year, behind the Maserati MC20, which is a car I actually quite like. It's a good looking car. It's a mid-engined Maserati supercar. It's very pretty. Well, just might be a little bit flawed, but an Italian supercar should have its flaws. And once puts a smile on your face when you're driving it on the limit, that's all that really matters, isn't it? And it's pretty, as I said, which is subjective, but I'll fight you on that one. So yeah, I'd love a GR86, but I think the chances of me ever owning one of them is pretty slim, considering there aren't that many of them, and they're already sold out. You could grey import one from Japan, it's more in Japan, and it is available in Japan as a Subaru BRZ, not in the UK and Ireland, or Europe at all. I think it's a Subaru from just like us. They sold at Sicily over here. But you can get them from Japan. And actually, you can get one landed for 30 to 40 grand. I have no idea what is like registering a car from Japan when it comes to VRT and tax, etc. Probably financially ruinous. But where there is a will, there's a way. Unfortunately, my $5 grand budget would not stretch to the shipping costs. So that's out of my realm. What other cars have been released as of late? Oh, the 5-door long wheelbase Suzuki Jimny. Yeah, it doesn't look right. It's too long, and like the rear quarter window is like oh shit. We need to put a window in. Someone quick, get it. Sorry, let's see if I'm burping. I'm not going after my dinner. Apologies, not very professional of me. Yeah, let's get the angle grinder out. We need to put another window in. Yeah, like what? The whole point of the Jimny is it's small, and the little mini short wheelbase G-Wagon, as it's kind of known as. But either way, the 5-door Jimny won't be coming to Europe anyway, because it doesn't pass EU 6 or 7, EU 6 emission regulations because of that shitty 1.5 4-cylinder engine they use. I don't know why they don't sell it over here with the K-car turbo. Maybe that doesn't meet our emission laws either, because you can get it in Japan with a little 660cc turbo. Actually, there's one of them. I have a picture of it somewhere. I'll post that on Instagram as well. There's a white Jap import K-car-esque one that lives near me. So it's got the narrow body without the second body. This doesn't have the wheel arch extensions. And it's got skinny steel wheels, and it's a manual, and it's got the 660 turbo. The Jimny as a passenger vehicle, both in long wheelbase, short wheelbase, is no longer available in Europe. So I assume you can still buy a Jimny here, but as a commercial only. What do they call it? The LCV, light commercial vehicle. So it doesn't have any rear seats. I don't think they'll be doing a light commercial vehicle version of the long wheelbase one. I could be wrong. But either way, you wouldn't want it because it looks shit. I think this. Oh, and then last new car thing I'm going to talk about. The run-out model of the Renault Megane RS. I can't remember exactly what they called it. The Megane or something extreme. Some Google it, you'll find out. Yeah. But the only reason I bring it up is because, unfortunately, mechanically, there's nothing revolutionary about it. You essentially get the trophy. It's the cup car with the trophy. No, sorry, it's the trophy car with the cup chassis and all the other add-ons. So it's basically a run-out special with all the flim-flam that you could option on an RS Megane. It's got some fucking body trinkets and different wheels and graphics and shit. Like nothing that will change the performance of the car. It's a run-out model, and let's be honest, it's probably, most certainly probably that makes sense. The last combustion-powered RS Megane. It could possibly be your last combustion-powered RS Renault ever. It could be the last Renault Sport product in itself, because I think any more performance-related Renault products will be badged as Alpines. Probably going to be electric. Because I saw a new Megane yesterday, which one didn't even know existed. It's a crossover-esque kind of thing. It's a large hatchback on big wheels and straight suspension. Interesting looking car, I must say. It does look rather cool. I'm not even sure if it's electric. Anyway, but it would not lend itself to be a hot hatch. And that's sad, because although apparently that last generation Megane RS wasn't the be-all and end-all of the lineage, I'm sure it still was a cracking car. I haven't driven one, unfortunately. But obviously the previous models, going back to Mark II Megane, I don't think they did the Mark I Megane RS. But yeah, they're all great. I'd have any Renault Sport product, to be honest. But again, all of those, if you can find one, are outrageously priced and out of my budget, because again, everything is too expensive. Motorsport. Let's talk about motorsport briefly. I will, some episode down the line, discuss Formula 1. Formula 1's so hot right now. I'm sure there are people listening to this, if there are any people listening to this, who got into Formula 1 through Drive to Survive, which, again, I will probably go on a rant about that at some point. But I will go into Formula 1 in further detail as the season approaches, which isn't far off from the car launches that are going to be in the next couple of weeks. But anyway, I'm not going to talk about Formula 1. What I am going to talk about now, because it happened this weekend, the Monte Carlo Rally, the WRC. I love rallying. Rallying is fucking brilliant. As a spectacle, it's fucking great. The outgoing cars, they've changed the cars for this year. They're hybrids. They're slightly less aerodynamically funky as the ones that went out. They're still very fast and have the most incredibly trick suspension. How they can do the things on the surfaces that they drive on boggles the mind. But it doesn't matter. Even seeing someone's home-built 1 litre, Toyota started, which is so earlier, in my mind, just stripped out and got trick tyres on it, ripping along a tarmac road, back into nowhere. It just looks, it's just a great spectacle. It's the one motorsport I could really see myself getting into as a competitor. Again, if I had the money to do so, because there's not such thing as cheap motorsport, unfortunately. But anyway, yes, the Monte Carlo Rally was on this weekend. Slightly less snowy and icy, thanks to the lack of snow that we've had in Europe this winter. Thanks to global warming. Not global warming, climate change, global warming is the French term, really. But yeah, so the Monte Carlo Rally happened this weekend, and Sébastien Ogier won by 18 seconds from the reigning world champion, Cali Rovanpera, his teammate at Toyota, again, Gazoo Racing Toyota, as we've been discussing, arguably the greatest Toyota or something, generally. even their mundane cars, the that fucking crossover thing they do, the HC or H or whatever the fuck it's called. And like that little iGo X thing, which is an iGo, kind of looks like a crossover, but it's not. Anyway, they all look great. Yes, the Toyota's really on a roll. Cool company. But anyway, so yes, Sebastian Ogier won the Monte Carlo Rally. I think that's the 8th or 9th time he's won Monte Carlo. Sebastian Ogier does not get the plaudits he deserves. Everyone knows who Sebastian Loeb is, and rightly so. Sebastian Loeb was and is an absolute legend. Obviously competed in the Dakar this year. He finished second, I believe, behind Al Attiyah, who is a dominant force in Dakar or last year's spinning. I'm not talking about Dakar. Sebastian Loeb won 9 World Rally Championships, consecutive World Rally Championships before he retired. Sebastian Ogier has won 8. And the big difference between Sebastian Ogier and Sebastian Loeb, one, Sebastian Ogier is still competing, even though he did say he was going to retire at the end of the 2021 season. He did a few select rounds last year, and now he's back again doing a full campaign. But I think he does want to get to that precious 9 World Rally Championships, and Sebastian Loeb has achieved. Ogier is currently on 8. Maybe he'll even go further and he'll beat Loeb's record and get 10. But the big difference is Ogier has won his 8 championships with 3 different manufacturers. He won initially with Volkswagen. He won 3 or 4 with Volkswagen. Then he won a couple with Ford. And he's won with Toyota. So, whereas Sebastian Loeb, he won all 9 of his with Citroën. Now, it's not taking away from Sebastian Loeb at all. It's what he did was incredible. He wiped the floor with everyone who was competing during those 9 or 10, 11 years he was in the World Rally Championship. He just was a force to be reckoned with, and still is. He competes in all sorts of stuff. There's a Dakar, and he does some circuit racing, some endurance racing, and touring cars, etc., etc. But Ogier, everyone knows who Sebastian Loeb is, but not nobody. Obviously, I'm sure plenty of you know who they are if you are listeners. But it's just Ogier is just not spoken about as highly as Sebastian Loeb, or even the legend that was the late great Colin McRae. But don't get me wrong, again, was an absolutely incredible rally driver. But Colin McRae, admittedly, he was probably in a much more competitive era of rallying. But Colin McRae only won 1 World Championship. Sebastian Ogier has won 8, and after the performance, he led the Monte Carlo Rally this year, start to finish. He never lost the lead, and instead he beat his own teammate by nearly 20 seconds. That man is looking at possibly 9 or more World Rally Championships, and he's just not. Now, it's partly because the coverage of the World Rally Championship is abysmal. You can't get it on television anymore. They do have their own online platform which follows it live and has great highlight packages, but someone like even I would struggle to justify spending whatever it is, I don't know, a couple of £100, £150 or something for a full season of WRC coverage. They do have a YouTube channel which does put up daily highlights after each day's stages, which covers the main news, but they're only like 2.5 minutes long. Anyway, I just wanted to have a little rant. Sebastian Ogier deserves your attention, and I'm going to try and keep my finger on the pulse with the World Rally Championship season this year as much as I possibly can. I probably won't subscribe to their online platform because I just don't think I can justify it. Well, maybe if I did pay for it, maybe I would. I'm rambling. Check out Sebastian Ogier. Just give him a Google. Watch some of his stuff on YouTube. The guy's a legend, and he deserves your praise. Okay, I'm going to start wrapping it up here now because I'm on a half an hour, and this is definitely not being of the highest quality. But do excuse me. I haven't recorded many podcasts ever, really, and the ones I did in my previous guises reincarnation, they were all right. I'm sure there were some good ones. Some people listened to them. Some people didn't. Most people didn't. But I have to push myself to do these things. If you don't do, you won't succeed, or something along those lines. I'll wrap up. I shouldn't, after all my rambling about how shit the classifieds are. I'm going to try and make a regular thing of giving you a classified find of the week. And this week it will be it's a Dublin built, because something I never knew until recently. Percy Place in Dublin, if you're familiar with it. It's just kind of just off Bagot Street. Percy Place used to be, I think, a European headquarters of British Leyland. And British Leyland had several factories in Ireland, one of which was a Morris factory that was in Dublin. So there is a Dublin-built Morris miner on Dundeel. I'll try and post the link on the social medias. As I said, car_no_sore on Instagram, and I just go by JohnnyQ86 on Twitter. It's a Dublin built on a Dublin reg with its old brown logbook Morris miner. Now, it does need restoring, but it's certainly not the worst, restoration advert I've seen on the classifieds over the years. The person selling it does say the engine does turn over, and the bodywork certainly got some holes in it, but it's far from unsalvageable. And body panels for Morris miners actually aren't that difficult to come across. There's a good kind of community of people who keep that shit going. Maybe not so much in Ireland, but you will find them. But it's €950, and the fact that it's the condition that it's in, and considering the market, and considering the fact that it's an Irish car, which is quite cool. Well, it is cool. Irish built, Irish registered car. €950. Now, obviously, I'm not going to do it. I'm not that stupid. But it's not the means or the talent to restore a car. But someone should save that car, because that would be a cool thing to have. If I saw that at a classic car show, I'd be like, that's cool. And I wouldn't be the only person. Also, what I'm going to try and keep regular is I'll recommend you a YouTube channel to watch. Probably car related, sometimes it might not be. So to start that off, what I'm going to recommend for you is M539 Restorations. Clues in the name. What he does, it's by a guy called Sretan. He is a Serbian man who lives in Frankfurt, Germany. Speaks fluent English because he made his, I assume he made his cash in the States, because he's now a full-time YouTuber. I don't think you get into full-time YouTubing. There's some sort of financial security behind you. But he saves old BMWs, generally from the mid-late 80s to the very early 2000s era. He has about 12 projects on the go at the moment. Ranging from stuff like, a V7 Alpina to an 850i 8 Series, where he's actually transplanted. He found BMW made a few E38 7 Series with a hydrogen-powered V12. Now, it was significantly down on torque and power compared to the combustion engine, but cool thing. But he managed to get his hands on one of the engines, and he's using the block as kind of like a brand new block. The block and the pistons and the valves and stuff. It's brand new. It only has 5,000 kilometers on it. It's like a brand new engine. He's using that, and then using all the ancillaries and stuff from the engine that was in the 8 Series. And this is what he's currently working on at the moment. That's why I'm talking about it. He's putting that into the 8 Series. It's a manual 850i. And he's hoping he said he might get a port if he can find something to do it. But anyway, I'm rambling again. It's a great YouTube channel. He saves old BMWs, and I would equate it to, if you ever watched James May's show, The Reassembler. It's just slow TV of a man with exquisite attention to detail when it comes to fixing vehicles. He doesn't leave any stone unturned. He only uses OEM parts. His cleanliness, everything. He's the person I would love to be if I had the patience, but I don't, because I'm a lazy bastard. And that attention to detail also goes into the editing of his videos, because he does it all himself. The work on the cars and the editing of the videos is all done by him. And the editing of his videos is absolutely immaculate as well. He just puts so much effort into the videos. Now, because of the amount of work he does in the cars and the editing of the videos, his videos tend to be once every 2 weeks, and it's worth it though. And they're good, they're solid, 45 to an hour long. He's an entertaining guy. As I said, his attention to detail is brilliant. So if you have any interest in BMWs, or even if you just have any interest in cars, I'd highly recommend watching, I'm burping again, M539 restorations on YouTube. Check him out. And then lastly, one thing I'm going to try and make a regular thing of, just to kind of spruce things up a bit. Probably the only one thing I love as much as I love cars is music. So I'm going to try and recommend a song at the end of each episode, because you're probably listening to this on a smartphone, I would assume, if you're listening to it at all. And so you can, once you're finished listening to me, you can then listen to the song I recommend. And the first song I recommend is a song called Final Form by an artist called Sampa the Great. She's an incredible lyricist, rapper lyricist, and the hook in this song, the chorus for Final Form, is an absolute earworm. It's brilliant. It's a great song. So check that out. Final Form by Sampa the Great. So if I listen back to this and it's worth posting, which is, I can already tell myself is arguable, I'll hopefully have it up this evening, which is Sunday afternoon. What are we at? We're at just over 36 minutes, which is, if you've lasted this long, fair play to you, if you're listening at all. It's Sunday night now, so I'll try and post it this evening. When I last started posting podcasts, it would go up on Spotify and Google, no problem. I used to post them on YouTube as well. For some reason, I had a lot of trouble trying to get them on Apple Podcasts. So if you're an Apple podcaster, I do apologise. Don't know why I'm apologising, because if you're an Apple podcaster, you wouldn't be able to listen to this. But yeah, they wouldn't go up on Apple Podcasts for some reason. But yeah, I might try and post them on a Thursday going forward, because from my own observations, I do listen to a number of podcasts myself. And Thursday just seems to be a slow day for podcasts. So I may as well post them on Thursdays, because you might have no other podcast to listen to. So I might have a vague chance of people listening to it. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling now. And if you have listened to this, thank you. I'm willing to take any constructive feedback. Be kind. I am learning, and I understand. Things will progress as things go on. Hope the wind noise wasn't too bad on this. I did have a wired microphone that I was going to use, but for some reason it doesn't work. Oh, I know why it doesn't work, because my fucking phone doesn't have a fucking headphone jack. Sick. So I'm using it via my wireless headphones, which might create a bit of wind noise. Of course, John, you could solve that problem by not recording your podcast outside, but I find it easier to ramble while I'm moving around. I think sitting by myself, talking to myself, I don't think it would work as well. I don't know. I'll give that a go sometime. I'm rambling again. So yes, if you have listened to this far, please do subscribe to my podcast. Like and subscribe. That's the thing you're supposed to do, aren't you, when you do these things? And I'll try and keep them going and try and improve the quality as we go on. And let's see where it all goes. I'm also going to try and start writing again, because I haven't written in probably over a year. And I'll probably start making some videos again, because again, I haven't been doing that. I did make a few shitty videos over COVID, simply because I had nothing else to do. But I think maybe if I do it, as I said, I am technically supposed to be a journalist. It's what you do in a former life, and it is what I have my qualifications in. So, we all should reach for the stars, as you should. Rambling again. Thanks for listening. I'm going to shut up now. Goodbye. Bye. You can't.